Chosen. 1. Something has shifted and you felt it before you even understood it. This is not just another message. You were positioned here, Anointed One. Heaven has interrupted your path because a moment of divine alignment has arrived and your life is standing at the edge of a supernatural shift. What you are about to hear is not information, it is confirmation. You have walked through seasons where nothing made sense, doors closed without explanation, prayers that seemed to echo in silence, nights where you questioned if anything was truly changing. But hear this clearly, nothing was wasted. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 reminds us that there is a time for every purpose under heaven, and your appointed time is now unfolding. What is coming is not random provision. It is a divine release prepared, measured, and assigned specifically to you, not just to relieve your struggle, but to activate your purpose. The weight you carried was shaping your capacity. The delay was protecting your assignment. Chosen One. This is the kind of moment that only happens when heaven decides it is time to move. If this message is finding you, it means you are already in alignment, so stay connected, because what is about to be revealed next will show you exactly how this divine provision is about to enter your life. You felt something shift the moment you heard this, didn't you, Chosen One? This is not just about money. This is about a door that has been sealed over your life, one that you tried to open in your own strength, one that remained shut through seasons of confusion, delay, and quiet frustration. And now, without warning, that same door is about to open from the other side, not by your effort, not by your timing, but by divine instruction. There were nights when you stared at your situation and wondered how long this stretch of lack would last. Moments when you calculated, adjusted, sacrificed, and still it didn't seem enough. You kept showing up, you kept believing quietly, even when your faith didn't feel loud or powerful. And that right there, Anointed One, that quiet persistence is what heaven has been watching. Because what you thought was delay was actually preparation. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3 says that the vision waits for an appointed time, and though it seems to delay, it will surely come. You have been living inside that tension, the space between promise and manifestation, and it stretched you, it refined you, it taught you how to trust without evidence. But now something is changing. There is a movement happening behind what you can see. Conversations you are not part of yet. Opportunities forming that have your name attached to them. Resources shifting, aligning, being redirected. You are not chasing this provision is being guided toward you. And here is what you must understand in this moment. This unexpected money is not arriving as a reward for perfection. It is arriving because you were entrusted with something far greater than your circumstances ever revealed. You were being shaped into a steward, not just a receiver. There is a difference. A receiver celebrates the blessing. A steward understands the assignment behind it, and heaven does not release abundance without purpose. That is why your journey has felt different from others. That is why doors didn't open easily. That is why shortcuts never worked for you. You were not being denied, you were being positioned. Because when this arrives, it must not destroy you. It must expand you. Pause for a moment and feel this truth settle. What is coming carries weight. Not just financial weight, but spiritual weight. Responsibility, influence, opportunity, the kind that shifts direction, not just comfort. And that is why your spirit had to be strengthened before your hands could receive it. You may have thought you were falling behind, but in reality, you were being held back from receiving too early. There is protection in delay, and now that protection is lifting, you will begin to notice something subtle first. Not the full blessing, not the overflow, but signs, small, almost easy to dismiss. A conversation that feels random but lingers in your mind. An idea that comes with unusual clarity. A connection that feels timely in a way you cannot explain. These are not coincidences. These are signals. Heaven rarely releases everything at once. It prepares your awareness first. It trains your perception so that when the full manifestation arrives, you recognize it instantly and you do not mishandle it. So pay attention. Because what looks small at first is connected to something much larger. And here is where many people miss their moment. They expect the blessing to look dramatic, obvious, immediate. But often it begins quietly, just like a seed placed in the ground, hidden, unseen, but already alive. Chosen one. This is where your faith must shift. Not into excitement alone, but into awareness. You are not waiting anymore. You are observing the beginning of what has already been released. And the question is not if this will come. The real question is, will you recognize it when it begins to unfold? There is something you need to realize right now, and it may challenge the way you have been looking at your situation. What is coming into your life is not disconnected from what you have already lived through. In fact, every moment of pressure, every financial strain, every time you had to make a decision with limited resources was training your discernment. You were learning how to value, how to prioritize, how to carry weight without collapsing under it. That was not accidental. That was instruction. Because when provision comes suddenly without preparation, it can overwhelm instead of elevate. But your journey has been different. You have been stretched slowly, intentionally, in ways that forced you to grow in patience and awareness. You have had to trust, even when the numbers did not make sense, even when nothing around you confirmed that anything was changing. And yet, you stayed. That is why this moment matters. You are not stepping into something random. You're stepping into something that has been carefully measured for you. There is a precision to what is being released. It is not just about the amount. It is about the timing, the source, and the impact it will have when it arrives. Think about the times you almost gave up. The moments when you questioned whether your efforts were leading anywhere. The quiet frustration of doing everything right and still feeling like you were behind. Those were not signs of failure. Those were signs that you were being held in a process you could not control, and that process is now reaching completion. You may not see it fully yet, but you are already standing at the edge of it. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. It is unfolding in layers, and you are moving through those layers, whether you realize it or not. This is why your mindset matters more than ever right now. If you carry the mindset of lack into a season of provision, you will still feel limited even when resources increase. If you carry fear into abundance, you will hold back instead of moving forward. But if you recognize that what is arriving is aligned with purpose, then everything changes. You begin to move differently. You begin to think differently. You stop reacting from survival and start responding from clarity. And that is where transformation happens. There is also something else happening beneath the surface that you need to be aware of. Not everything around you will immediately align with this shift. There may still be moments that look unchanged. There may still be voices, situations, or patterns that try to pull you back into the old way of thinking. That does not mean the blessing is not real. It means you are transitioning, and every transition comes with resistance. You might feel it as doubt creeping in at unexpected times. You might question whether this is truly happening for you. You might even feel a strange hesitation, as if part of you is not ready to fully accept what is being prepared. That is normal, because stepping into something new always requires letting go of something old. And for you, that old thing is not just your circumstances. It is the identity you built while surviving them. You learned how to manage lack. You learned how to operate with less. You learned how to protect yourself from disappointment. Those patterns helped you get through difficult seasons, but they cannot go with you into what is coming next. They will limit you if you carry them forward. So this is the moment where you begin to release them even before you see the full manifestation. You start to align your thinking with what is already being prepared for you, not just what you have experienced up until now. This is not pretending. This is positioning. You're aligning internally with what is already being set in motion externally. And as you do that, something powerful begins to happen. Your awareness sharpens. You start to notice opportunities that you would have overlooked before. You begin to recognize connections that feel purposeful instead of random. You feel a sense of clarity that was not there before, even if your external situation has not fully changed yet. That clarity is a sign. It means you are coming into alignment with what has already been released. And once that alignment is established, things begin to accelerate. Not in chaos, but in order. Not in confusion, but in direction. What once felt slow will begin to move with a different kind of rhythm. You will notice that certain things fall into place more easily than they used to. Doors that required effort before will begin to open with less resistance. And the timing of events will start to feel intentional instead of random. This is how divine orchestration reveals itself. It does not always announce itself loudly. It becomes evident through consistency, through alignment, through the way things begin to connect without force. And you are stepping into that now. But there is still something ahead that you need to understand, something that will determine how you handle what is about to come into your hands. There is a reason this moment is unfolding the way it is, and it goes deeper than provision itself. What is about to enter your life is tied directly to how you see yourself. Not the version of you shaped by struggle, not the version that adapted to limitation, but the version that was always meant to carry influence, responsibility, and impact. The tension you have been feeling is not just about money. It is about identity shifting into alignment with purpose. Because when your identity changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your direction changes. And when your direction changes, everything connected to your life begins to move differently. This is why the preparation phase felt so personal. It was not only external circumstances being adjusted, it was you being restructured internally. The way you think about value, the way you respond to pressure, the way you interpret opportunity. All of it has been shaped through what you have lived through, even when you did not realize it at the time. There were moments when you had to choose discipline over comfort, times when you had to move forward without clarity, situations where you had to trust your intuition, even when no one around you understood your decisions. Those were not random challenges. They were building a foundation inside of you that can now support what is coming, because what is being released requires stability. Not just financial stability, but emotional and mental stability. The ability to hold something without being overwhelmed by it. The ability to move with clarity instead of reacting with urgency. The ability to see beyond the immediate and recognize long-term impact. And that is where many people struggle. They receive something significant, but they are not prepared to sustain it. They react instead of respond. They consume instead of steward. They move fast without understanding direction, and because of that, what could have elevated them ends up slipping through their hands. That will not be your story. Not because you are trying harder, but because you have been prepared differently. You have already experienced what it feels like to have nothing align. You know what it is like to wait, to adjust, to endure. That experience has given you something that cannot be taught quickly. It has given you awareness, and awareness is what protects you in moments of increase. As this begins to unfold, you will notice that your perspective continues to shift. Things that once felt urgent will no longer carry the same weight. Decisions that used to feel complicated will become clearer. You will start to see patterns, connections, and timing in ways that feel almost intuitive. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. And as that alignment deepens, you will also begin to recognize something else. The opportunities that come to you will not all look the same. Some will feel obvious, others will be subtle, almost easy to overlook. But both are important, because not every door that opens is meant to be rushed through. Some are meant to be observed first. Discernment becomes critical here. You are not just stepping into increase. You are stepping into a space where your choices carry more weight than before. And that means you cannot move based on impulse. You have to move with intention. There will be moments where something looks promising on the surface, but something inside you tells you to pause. Listen to that. There will be other moments where something seems small, but it carries a sense of clarity and direction that you cannot ignore. Follow that, because what is being built here is not temporary. This is not a quick moment of gain. This is a shift that is meant to extend beyond a single event, beyond a single opportunity. It is meant to create momentum that continues to build over time, and momentum is created through consistent, aligned decisions. You are not just receiving, you are participating. This is where your role becomes active, not in forcing outcomes, but in recognizing what is already being positioned and responding to it correctly. There is a rhythm to this, a flow that you step into, not control. And once you begin to move within that flow, things begin to connect in ways that feel natural instead of forced. You will see it in how conversations lead to opportunities, how one decision opens the door to another, how timing begins to align in ways that reduce friction instead of increase it. This is what it looks like when something is being orchestrated beyond your direct control. But even with that, there is something you must guard against, because as movement increases, so does distraction. Not everything that appears during this time is meant for you. Some things are simply noise. Some opportunities will try to pull your attention in directions that are not aligned with your path. And if you are not careful, you can lose focus on what actually matters. This is where discipline returns. Not the kind of discipline that comes from pressure, but the kind that comes from clarity. The ability to say no without hesitation. The ability to stay aligned even when something tempting appears. The ability to remain focused on what you know is right for you, even if other options seem easier. Because clarity is what keeps you steady when things begin to accelerate. And acceleration is coming, not all at once, not in chaos, but in a way that will require you to stay present, to stay aware, to stay grounded in the understanding that what is happening is not random. It is intentional. And as you continue moving forward in this, there is one more layer that will begin to reveal itself, something that will test whether you are truly ready to carry what you have been prepared for. There is a moment that comes right before everything changes, and it rarely looks the way people expect. It does not always feel like breakthrough. It often feels like pressure, like things are intensifying instead of resolving. Like you are being stretched in ways that do not make sense when you look at your current situation. And if you do not understand what is happening, you might misinterpret it as something going wrong. But this is the point where everything is being finalized. This is where alignment is tested. Because right before manifestation, there is often resistance. Not to stop you, but to reveal whether you are truly ready to move forward without falling back into old patterns. This is not about external obstacles alone. It is about internal response. You may notice certain thoughts trying to resurface, old doubts that you thought you had already moved past, questions about whether this is actually happening for you, a subtle pull to return to what feels familiar, even if it was limiting. That is not failure. That is exposure. It is showing you what still needs to be released before you step fully into what is coming. Because anything that remains unresolved internally will eventually affect how you handle what arrives externally. So this is the moment where awareness matters more than ever. You do not fight these thoughts by force. You recognize them. You see them for what they are. Patterns that were built during a different season, trying to carry over into a new one where they no longer belong. And once you see that clearly, you stop giving them authority. This is how you move forward. There may also be shifts happening around you that feel unexpected. Changes in relationships, changes in priorities, even changes in how you see certain people or situations. Things that once felt aligned may begin to feel distant. Conversations that used to flow easily may now feel out of place. That is part of the transition, because you cannot step into a new level while holding on to everything from the previous one. Some connections were meant for a season, not a lifetime. Some environments supported your growth at one stage, but cannot sustain where you are going next. This is not loss. This is refinement. And it can feel uncomfortable because it requires you to trust what you cannot fully see yet, to allow certain things to shift without trying to force them back into place. To accept that movement sometimes requires letting go. At the same time, you may notice a different kind of clarity emerging, a stronger sense of direction, a deeper understanding of what matters and what does not. Decisions that once felt uncertain begin to feel more defined. You are not guessing as much. You are recognizing. That is a sign that you are stepping into alignment at a deeper level. But here is where the real test comes in. It is not just about recognizing what is happening. It is about how you respond to it. When things begin to move, there is a temptation to act quickly, to try to control the outcome, to make everything happen at once because you can finally see progress. But this is where you have to remain grounded, because not everything that is available needs to be taken immediately. Timing still matters. Even in moments of acceleration, there is a pace that must be respected. Moving too fast can create unnecessary pressure. Moving without clarity can create confusion. And both can lead you away from the path that was being prepared for you. So, instead of rushing, you stay present. You observe. You respond with intention. You trust that what is meant for you will not require you to force it into place. This is a different way of moving. It is not driven by urgency. It is guided by awareness. And as you stay in that space, you will begin to see something remarkable happen. The resistance that once felt strong begins to lose its hold. The doubts that once felt convincing begin to fade. The uncertainty that once felt overwhelming begins to settle. Not because everything around you has fully changed yet, but because something within you has. And once that internal shift is established, the external manifestation follows. You are closer than you think. Closer than your current circumstances suggest, closer than your past experiences would lead you to believe. The distance between where you are and what is coming is not as large as it once was. It has already been reduced, and now it is about to become visible. But there is one more thing that must be understood before that happens, something that will determine whether you simply receive this moment or truly step into everything it is meant to unlock in your life. There is a difference between receiving a blessing and becoming the person who can sustain it, and this is where everything begins to separate. Chosen one, What is approaching your life is not just meant to pass through your hands. It is meant to remain, to grow, to multiply, and to expand into areas you have not yet even considered. But for that to happen, you must understand the weight of what you are stepping into. Because increase always reveals what is hidden. It reveals your habits. It reveals your thinking. It reveals your level of discipline. It reveals whether you are operating from clarity or from emotion. And this is not something to fear, it is something to prepare for. You have already been through seasons where you had to make careful decisions with very little. That was not just about survival, that was training your awareness. It was teaching you how to value what you have, how to make choices that align with long-term outcomes instead of short-term relief. Now that same awareness must remain with you as things begin to expand. Because when something arrives suddenly, there is a natural impulse to release tension, to relax, to finally breathe, to allow yourself to enjoy the shift after carrying so much pressure for so long. And there is nothing wrong with that. But if you are not grounded, that moment of release can turn into loss of direction. And direction is everything right now. This is not a moment to return to old patterns just because circumstances are changing. It is a moment to stay aligned with what you have already learned, to carry forward the discipline that was built in difficult seasons and apply it in a season of increase. That is what creates stability, and stability is what allows growth. There is also something deeper happening here that you need to recognize. What is being placed into your life is connected to more than your personal situation. It is connected to impact, to the ability to influence, to support, to create opportunities, not just for yourself, but for others. That is why this is not just about receiving. It is about stewardship. The way you handle what comes next will determine how far this expands, not because you are being tested in a harsh way, but because growth requires alignment. The more aligned you are, the more naturally things will continue to unfold. And that alignment shows up in simple, consistent ways. In how you make decisions when no one is watching. In how you respond to opportunities that require patience instead of immediate results. In how you manage what you have, even before it grows into something larger. These are the moments that shape the outcome. You may also begin to notice that your priorities are shifting. Things that once felt important may no longer hold the same value. You may feel less drawn to distractions, less interested in things that do not contribute to where you are going. That is not you losing interest. That is you gaining clarity. Because when your path becomes more defined, your focus naturally adjusts. You begin to protect your time, your energy, your attention in a different way. You become more intentional about where you invest yourself. And that intentionality is what protects your growth. There will still be moments where things feel uncertain. Moments where you are making decisions without having full visibility of the outcome. But that is part of the process. You are not meant to control every detail. You are meant to move with awareness and trust that what has been set in motion is already aligned. This is where your confidence begins to shift. Not into arrogance, not into assumption, but into quiet certainty. A knowing that you are not operating randomly, that your steps are connected to something greater than immediate results. And when you move from that place, everything becomes more stable. Opportunities no longer feel overwhelming. Decisions no longer feel rushed. You begin to move at a pace that allows you to see clearly, to respond effectively, to build something that lasts instead of something that fades. This is the difference between temporary change and lasting transformation. You are not stepping into something temporary. You are stepping into something that is meant to continue unfolding. And as this continues to build, there is another layer that will become clear, something that will confirm beyond doubt that what is happening in your life is not coincidence, not luck, but something that has been carefully arranged long before you could see it. At a certain point, it will no longer feel like anticipation. It will feel real. Chosen one. There comes a moment when what you have been sensing internally begins to show up externally in ways you cannot ignore, not as a distant possibility, not as something you are hoping for, but as something tangible that enters your reality and demands a response. This is where everything becomes undeniable. You will begin to see connections form that you could not have planned. Situations aligning in ways that feel too precise to be random. Timing that places you in the right place, in the right moment, with the right opportunity in front of you. And when it happens, you will recognize it immediately, not because it is loud, but because it is clear. There is a difference. Clarity does not need to prove itself. It settles in your awareness with certainty. It removes confusion instead of creating more of it. It brings a sense of direction that does not rely on external validation. And that is how you will know. You will not have to question whether this is meant for you. You will not have to force it to make sense. You will see it, feel it, and understand it in a way that is direct and grounded. But even in that moment, you will still have a choice. Because recognition is only the first step. Response is what determines the outcome. When this begins to unfold, you may feel a surge of emotion, relief, excitement, even disbelief. After everything you have been through, after all the waiting, all the adjustments, all the quiet persistence, it can feel overwhelming to finally see something shift in your favor. That is natural, but this is where you must remain centered. You do not lose your awareness just because things are improving. You do not abandon the discipline that carried you through difficult seasons. You stay grounded in what you have learned, even as your circumstances begin to change. Because this is not the end of the process. This is the beginning of a new phase, and this phase requires a different level of presence. You are no longer reacting to survival. You are now responding to opportunity, and those are two completely different ways of moving. Survival reacts quickly, often without full clarity, because it is trying to protect itself. Opportunity requires observation, patience, and intentional action. It requires you to see beyond the immediate moment and understand the direction you are stepping into. This is where your awareness becomes your greatest asset. You will start to notice that certain decisions carry more weight than before. Small choices begin to have larger consequences. The way you manage your time, your energy, your focus, all of it begins to shape the outcome in a more significant way. This is not pressure. This is responsibility. And responsibility is what allows expansion to continue. You are not being asked to be perfect. You are being asked to be aware, to move with intention instead of impulse, to recognize that what is in front of you is connected to something larger than the moment itself. There may also be people who begin to notice the shift in your life. Some will be supportive, others may not fully understand what is happening. You might encounter different reactions, different energies, different expectations. That is part of the transition. Not everyone will move at the same pace as you. Not everyone will see what you see, and that's okay. Your responsibility is not to explain everything. Your responsibility is to stay aligned with what you know is right for you, because alignment is what protects your path. And as you continue to move forward, something else will begin to settle within you, a sense of confidence that does not rely on circumstances staying perfect, a steadiness that remains even when things are still unfolding. This is not temporary confidence. This is stability. It comes from knowing that what is happening is not random, that it is not something that can disappear as quickly as it arrived. It is something that has been built, prepared, and released with intention, and that understanding changes how you move. You no longer chase. You recognize. You no longer force. You respond. You no longer operate from uncertainty. You move with direction. This is what it looks like when something shifts at a foundational level. And as this continues to unfold, there is one final realization that will bring everything together, something that will not only confirm what is happening, but also define how you carry it forward from this point on. What you are stepping into was never just about changing your situation. It was always about revealing who you were becoming. Chosen. This is the realization that brings everything into focus. The provision, the timing, the alignment, the preparation. None of it was random, and none of it was only about money. It was about positioning you into a life where you no longer operate from limitation, but from purpose. Because when you understand that everything shifts permanently, you stop measuring your life by what you have or do not have in a moment. You begin to recognize that what flows into your hands is connected to something far greater than your current circumstances. It becomes a tool, not an identity. A resource, not a source of your worth. And that is what keeps you grounded as everything expands. There was a time when you would have handled this differently. When you might have reacted out of relief, out of urgency, out of emotion tied to everything you had been through. But that version of you has already changed. You have been shaped through experience, refined through pressure, and aligned through patience. You are not the same person who started this journey, and because of that, you are ready. You are ready to receive without fear, ready to move without hesitation, ready to make decisions that are not driven by past limitations, but guided by present clarity. You are no longer trying to prove something. You are stepping into something that was already prepared. That is why this moment feels different. There is a calm in it, a sense of knowing that does not need constant reassurance. Even as things continue to unfold, even as details are still coming into place, there is a steady awareness that you are exactly where you need to be. That awareness is what carries you forward, because what happens next is not just about what you receive, but about how you live from this point on, the way you think, the way you choose, the way you respond to what is placed in front of you. All of it becomes part of something larger that continues to build over time. This is how transformation becomes lasting. It is not a single moment, it is a continuous alignment. You will begin to see that the opportunities in front of you are not isolated events. They connect, they build. They lead to new directions, new possibilities, new levels of understanding. And as you follow that path, you begin to create momentum that does not depend on one outcome, but on a series of aligned decisions. This is where stability and growth meet. And as that happens, you will also notice something within yourself that you may not have felt before. A deeper sense of peace, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer operating in uncertainty. You understand that what is unfolding is not fragile. It is not something that can disappear without reason. It is established. That does not mean there will never be challenges. It means those challenges will no longer define your direction. They will not have the same power to disrupt your path because you are no longer anchored in circumstances. You are anchored in understanding, and that changes everything. There will be moments where you look back at where you started and it will feel distant. Not because it did not matter, but because you have moved beyond it in a way that reshapes how you see your own journey. What once felt like obstacles will now look like necessary steps. What once felt like delay will now look like precise timing. This is how clarity replaces confusion. And as you continue forward, you will begin to see the impact of what has been placed in your life, not just in your own situation, but in how it extends outward. In how you are able to support, to create, to influence in ways that were not possible before. That is the true expansion. It is not just about receiving more, it is about becoming someone who can create more, who can carry more, who can move with a level of awareness that continues to open doors beyond what you initially expected. This is why this moment matters. Not because it solves everything instantly, but because it shifts your direction permanently. You are no longer in the same place. You are no longer operating from the same level. You are no longer waiting in the same way. You have crossed into something new, and from this point forward, everything you build, everything you choose, everything you align with, will carry the imprint of this shift. Not as a temporary change, but as a foundation that continues to support what comes next. So as you stand in this moment, recognize it for what it is, not an ending. A beginning that has already been set in motion long before you could see it, and now is unfolding in a way that confirms you were always meant to arrive here. Chosen one, receive this with peace, not pressure. What has been spoken over your life is already in motion. This is your Kairos moment, a divinely appointed time where what was prepared in silence begins to appear in reality. Even now, things you cannot yet see are aligning. Conversations are shifting, doors are positioning themselves to open at the exact moment you are ready to walk through. Anointed one, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are standing in the middle of a divine transfer that is unfolding with precision and care. So rest your mind. Release the need to control every detail. Stay rooted in gratitude for what is already done, even before you see it fully. Peace is your confirmation. Clarity is your signal. And expectation is your posture in this season. Walk forward with quiet confidence, knowing that what is coming will meet you exactly where you are and carry you into where you are meant to be. If this word resonates in your spirit, write Amen in the comments as a sign of your alignment and readiness to receive. And stay connected, chosen one. There are more messages meant for your path, and you will not miss what heaven has prepared for you. Your moment has already begun.